You know that feeling when you check your bank account, not because you're worried, just casually, the way you check the weather, and then something stops you. Not a huge charge, not some obvious mistake, just a number that feels slightly smaller than it should be. And you sit there scrolling through the transactions going, wait, what is this one? And what's this? Did I pay for that last month too? And then the feeling shifts. It's not panic exactly. It's more like a quiet confusion. Like you followed all the rules, you went to work, you didn't do anything crazy, and somehow the money still isn't where you thought it would be. That feeling has a name. It's not irresponsibility. It's not a math problem. And it's definitely not a character flaw. It has a name, and by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly what's been happening and more importantly, what to actually do about it. Here's what most people tell themselves when they realize they've been overspending on subscriptions. They say something like, I just need to be more disciplined. I need to pay more attention. I'm just being careless with money. And I want to push back on that, not because discipline doesn't matter, it does, but because framing this as a discipline problem completely misses what's actually going on. The subscription economy was not designed to be easy to track. It was designed to be invisible, and there's a meaningful difference between those two things. Think about how we experience money when we pay for something in cash. There's a physical sensation to it. You feel the weight of the notes, you hand them over, you watch them leave your hand. Researchers have actually studied this, and what they've found is that paying in cash activates a mild discomfort response in the brain. It registers as a small loss, and that feeling, that tiny sting, is actually useful. It creates awareness. It makes the purchase feel real. Now think about what happens with a subscription. You sign up once, often during a free trial, often when you're excited about something, and then the charges just happen quietly in the background, month after month, without you ever making a decision again. There's no moment of choice, no hand over the money moment, no sting. Behavioral economists call this the pain of paying, and subscriptions are engineered specifically to eliminate it. That's not an accident. That's a business model. So when you feel confused about where your money went, the honest answer is you were operating inside a system designed to make that confusion happen. That's not you being careless. That's you being human in an environment that was optimized against your awareness. And I think once you understand that, the shame dissolves a little. Because you weren't failing at budgeting, you were being out-designed. Let me walk you through how this actually works, because I think once you see the mechanics, you can't unsee them. It starts with the free trial. This is the entry point, and it's crafted with a lot of precision. You're offered something for free, usually 7 days, sometimes 30, and the psychology here is layered. First, it feels like a no-risk decision. You're not spending anything. You're just trying something. Second, by the time the trial ends, you've already started using the product. Maybe you've connected it to other things in your life, uploaded files, built a playlist, set a routine around it. Canceling now feels disruptive, so you don't, and the charge begins. That first charge is usually small enough not to alarm you. $8, maybe $12. It gets lost in the noise of a bank statement, and this is intentional. Companies have done the research on pricing thresholds, on what amounts people notice versus absorb without thinking. Somewhere between $8 and $15 tends to sit below the threshold of conscious attention for most people. It's not invisible, exactly, but it doesn't demand a decision the way a larger charge would. And then there's what you might call the accumulation effect, because no single subscription is the problem. The problem is that we don't accumulate one. We accumulate 8 or 10 or 12. Streaming video, streaming music, streaming audiobooks, a fitness app you used heavily in January, a meditation app you opened twice, cloud storage that expanded automatically when your photos ran out of room, a news site you subscribed to because of one really good article, a delivery membership you signed up for because shipping on one order was going to be expensive anyway. Each of these, on its own, feels reasonable. $8 for music feels like nothing. $12 for a streaming service feels like a good deal. $15 for the delivery membership. You've definitely saved that in shipping fees at some point, right? But stack them. Add them up. 10 subscriptions at an average of $12 each is $120 a month. Push that average to 15, add a couple at higher price points, and you're at $200, $250, $300 a month. That's $3,000 a year, leaving your account in charges you never consciously decided to make again after that first sign up. $3,000. not on experiences you chose, not on dinners you remember, not on trips or gifts or anything you could point to and say, yes, that was worth it. Just quietly, automatically gone. Now, here's the part that makes it harder to fix. The sunk cost trap. This is a psychological pattern we all fall into, and it's particularly sticky with subscriptions. It goes something like this. You realize you haven't used a particular app in 3 months, but you've already paid for 3 months. So somewhere in the back of your mind, a small voice says, well, I should at least use it a little before I cancel. Otherwise, I've just thrown that money away. And the result is that you don't cancel. You tell yourself you'll use it more, and then another month passes, and another charge happens, and the logic repeats. The money you already spent has already been spent. Canceling today doesn't recover it. But staying subscribed means spending more money on something that isn't adding value to your life. The rational move is obvious. The psychological pull is in the opposite direction. This is what economists call the sunk cost fallacy, the tendency to keep investing in something because of what you've already put in, rather than what you're likely to get out going forward. And it's not a flaw in your logic, it's a deeply human response. But it is something worth naming, because naming it is the first step to stepping around it. There's also the friction factor, which I think gets underappreciated. Companies know that the easier it is to sign up and the harder it is to cancel, the longer you'll stay. You've probably experienced this. Signing up, 3 clicks, enter your card, done. Canceling, log in, navigate 3 menus. Find the cancel option buried in account settings. Sit through a retention screen where they offer you a discount or a pause. Answer a survey about why you're leaving. And finally, maybe get a confirmation that you've actually been removed. That friction is a design choice. Every extra step between you and the cancel button is calculated to make some percentage of people give up and stay. And it works. Research consistently shows that cancellation friction meaningfully increases subscriber retention, which is a corporate way of saying making it annoying to leave keeps people paying, even when they don't want to. So when you step back and look at the full picture, free trials that capture you before you've made a real decision, pricing that sits below conscious attention, the accumulation of small charges into a large invisible drain, sunk cost psychology that keeps you locked in, and deliberate friction that makes leaving difficult. It becomes clear that this isn't about your willpower. It's about an environment that has been carefully constructed to work against your financial awareness. Here's the shift I want to offer you, because I think it's genuinely useful. Subscriptions are not the problem. Unconscious subscriptions are the problem. There's a real distinction there. Some subscriptions are genuinely worth every dollar. Maybe there's a streaming service you use almost every day, a tool that saves you time at work, a fitness membership that you actually show up to. Those aren't money wasters. Those are purchases you're making consciously, regularly, and getting value from. The issue isn't the category. The issue is the unconscious part. The charges that keep happening not because you decided they should, but because you never decided they shouldn't. And the thing about invisible spending is that visibility is the cure. Not a complicated system, not a radical lifestyle overhaul, not a spreadsheet you'll maintain for 3 weeks and then abandon. Just awareness. The simple act of looking at what's actually leaving your account and making a deliberate present tense decision about each one. There's something almost freeing about that framing, because it means the solution isn't about becoming a different kind of person. You don't have to become more disciplined or more austere or more frugal. You just have to make your spending visible again. You just have to reintroduce the decision. And when you do that, when you take back the decision making, something shifts, not just in your bank account, but in how you feel about money in general. Because a lot of financial anxiety isn't actually about having too little money. It's about feeling like you don't know where your money is going. It's the uncertainty, the quiet nagging sense that things are leaking somewhere you can't see. Clarity doesn't just save you money. It gives you back a sense of control. And that feeling of control, that calm sense of, I know what's happening with my money, is genuinely one of the most underrated aspects of financial well-being. It costs nothing. It just requires looking. So let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. And I want to be clear up front, this is not complicated. This is not going to require a lot of time or a new app or a complete financial restructuring. This is genuinely something you can do in an evening. The first step is the audit. And the simplest way to do it is the bank statement method. Go to your bank account, whether that's an app, a website, wherever you access your statements, and look at the last 2 months of transactions. 2 months, not one, because some subscriptions charge quarterly or annually and won't show up in a single month snapshot. Go through every charge and highlight or note anything that's recurring. Anything that appeared in both months with the same name and a similar amount, you'll probably find a few you'd forgotten about entirely. That's normal. That's the point of the exercise. Don't judge yourself for them. Just see them clearly for what they are. Once you have the list, the decision framework is simple. Have you used this in the last 30 days? Not do you intend to use it, not could you see yourself using it eventually. Have you actually opened it, logged in, used the thing in the past 30 days? If the answer is no, that's your signal. Call it the use it or lose it rule. It's not extreme. It's just honest. If a subscription hasn't earned its keep in the past 30 days, the default move is to cancel it. You can always resubscribe later if you find yourself genuinely missing it, but the burden of proof should be on the subscription to demonstrate its value, not on you to imagine a future version of yourself who might eventually use it. For the ones that are borderline, you use them occasionally but not regularly, give them a 30-day trial, not a product trial, a personal trial. Set a reminder for 30 days from now. If you've used it meaningfully by then, keep it. If not, let it go. Now, I want to show you something about what this actually means for your money, because I think the numbers are worth sitting with for a moment. Let's say this audit reveals $150 a month in subscriptions you're not actively using. That's a conservative number. For a lot of people, it's more. But let's be conservative. $150 a month is $1,800 a year. If you took that money and redirected it into an investment account, even a simple broad index fund, and you did that consistently for 10 years, with average historical market growth, you'd be looking at somewhere in the neighborhood of $30,000 from subscriptions you weren't even using. That's not a promise. Markets move in both directions, but it illustrates the concept that small invisible leaks, redirected with intention, compound into something real over time. The same mechanic that worked against you becomes the mechanic working for you. And you don't have to invest all of it. Maybe some of it goes back into subscriptions you actually love. Maybe some of it goes toward a savings goal or just toward breathing room at the end of the month. The point isn't to squeeze every dollar into an investment account. The point is that you get to decide consciously, clearly, with full information, where your money goes. I want to end with something that I think matters more than any practical tip I could give you. Financial clarity is not a destination. It's not something you achieve once and then maintain effortlessly forever. Life changes. Subscriptions creep back in. You sign up for something during a stressful week and forget to revisit it. That's going to happen. It happens to everyone. What I hope you take from this isn't a perfect system or a promise that you'll never lose track of your money again. What I hope you take is the understanding that when you do lose track, and you will occasionally, because you're human in a world designed to blur the lines, it's not a moral failing, it's just drift. And drift can always be corrected. The audit we talked about isn't a one-time event. It's something worth doing every few months. 20 minutes, 2 months of bank statements, a simple yes or no for each recurring charge. That's the whole practice. It's not glamorous. It doesn't require a sophisticated app or a financial advisor or a complete lifestyle overhaul. It just requires the willingness to look clearly at what's happening and make a conscious choice about whether you want it to keep happening. And here's what I found talking about money in this way for a long time now. Most people don't have a money problem as much as they have an awareness problem. The money is often there or closer to there than it feels. It's just moving in directions that were decided months or years ago in moments of low attention by systems that were designed to make that happen. Taking back your attention, even just a little of it, even just in one area, changes the relationship you have with your finances. It makes money feel less like a mystery and more like something you can actually see and steer. You don't have to be perfect at this. You just have to be a little more aware than you were before you pressed play on this video. And if that's where you are now, if something in here clicked for you, then that's already something. That's already progress. That's enough for today.